Warmachine board, battle report. Cygnar versus Cryx.
Okay, so here's our setup. Playing against another Cryx army. This time it's what's his name?
It's Goreshade 2. Goreshade.
Goreshade. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So I got the first turn, and you decided to go on the side with the forest, which is actually the side that I would have avoided myself. So that worked out quite well, I thought.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Because my side's nice and open, gives me lots of space to move around. Anyway, so the list I brought is my Striker 2 list, and it's a 35-point game, so it's just a slightly smaller version. So there's one Stormclad less, and I didn't bring the Ragman, and I didn't bring Runewood. And so from left to right is Rowdy, and the Squire, and then Striker 2, and then a unit of Stormblades. Strangeways is there, and a Stormclad attached to some Sword Knights with the UA, and also Piper and the Junior Warcaster. So if we go to the next slide, then we can look at your setup and your army.
Yeah, this is my army, and I'm playing Goreshade the Curse the first time. And I picked the Bane Riders in full size, a Defiler, the Cygnar Blood Witches in a small unit with a Blood Hag, the small unit of Mechanithrals. You can see Goreshade hidden behind them, and a full unit of Bane Thralls with a unit unit attachment.
Oh, I hate Banes.
And in between them, without a head, without an axe, unpainted Tartarus.
And Tartarus.
Yeah,
I also hate Tartarus.
You hit them all. Yeah, that's all.
So the point behind this list is it's a Bane factory list, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. In addition to it, to the Banes, there's the screening unit, the Witches, and the Mechanic Thralls to keep them back and to sacrifice them for the feed, the reanimator of Goreshade, if I need them. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that it doesn't matter how many I kill, you can bring them back, and it doesn't matter how many of mine that you kill, you can turn them into Banes.
Yeah, that's it. And
it's crazy.
Two different ways to turn your models into Banes. It's the Elite Cater rule from Goreshade the Cursed, and the, I don't know how it's called, rule from Tartarus with his Thresher attack or his normal attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So my list is not ideal for this matchup, but I'm still trying to force myself to learn Striker 2, so that's why I took this list. And you wanted to play Goreshade and try out the Bane Factory.
Yeah.
So I've just clicked onto the next slide, which is my first turn, and it's pretty straightforward, really. My Stormclad's running up. He's gonna just really get stuck in and try and do some killing. Although he'll probably, at this point, I was expecting that he would die to the Bane Thralls pretty quickly. The Stormblades are just getting close to the Stormclad to give them a focus. Strangeways is doing the same. He wants to give the Stormclad a focus. Stryker is stuck to Rowdy with the Squire nearby, and the Sword Knights are just ran up into groups. I don't think you've got much shooting, but I still grouped up just for good practice.
By the way, this looks very organized. What you're doing in the first turn.
Thank you. It's it looks impressive, but it's actually not that impressive. So basically just running up, and that's it really. Yeah. So on your first turn, looking at the next slide.
Yeah.
So here come those horses.
Flooding the field. Actually, I was only going to swarm the field and screen my Banes with the blood hack. No, the Cygnar hacks, and the Texas witches, by the way.
Witches, yeah.
The witches. And I didn't care for the die or if I can use that later for the reanimator. They did their job. You can see it later.
So when you set up, did you deliberately put the Bane Riders on the same side as Stryker? Was that deliberate, or was it just because the forest was there?
As it is the maybe one of the mightiest units in this setup, I was going to block Stryker or maybe make a right-by attack. I wanted to keep him busy. And on this photo, it's difficult to see. In the woods, hidden, there's the last of the Bane Riders to keep them safe for the reanimator. So
that's right. So if a unit gets wiped out completely, then you can't bring them back with Goreshade 2's feet. So it's always worth having one hang back, lurking in the background to make sure that you can bring the others back. And his feet can bring back Bane Riders, which is crazy. So you can swap a Mechanithrall for a Bane Rider on his feet.
Yeah, that's it. It's the maximum. That's the maximum use of the feet.
The more I think about it, the more crazy it seems. At 50 points, it'll just be absolutely crazy.
Might be. And the Bane Riders on the left side, if you see the picture there, I was going to sacrifice them. Because I was going to reanimate them anyway later. Yeah. So, and the Bane Thralls on the back, and Goreshade behind his mechanic Thralls. So, that's it, basically.
Yeah, so you did a good job of shielding Goreshade in this game because he's on a medium base, which means he's very easy to shoot.
Yeah, I forgot to cast the occultation of him, which put him in danger later.
Yes, and so I've played you before, and I've had the witches screening before. So my idea, if you move on to the next slide, you can see that I managed to remove a couple of witches and make a path for the Stormclad to charge some Bane Thralls, and I think he killed 2 or 3 with the Electroleaps as well. That's quite handy. But I think it turned out it was probably a mistake to put the Stormclad up front. I probably should have walked in with the Sword Knights first. I think they 1 or 2 of those could have absorbed the first charge of the Banes. So, but still, the Stormclad got stuck in there. The Storm Blades, because you cast a spell on your witches, I think it's a mini feat that they can do once per game, where they become incorporeal. So I was able to walk up to them and engage them, but I was unable to damage them. And super nasty, I cast Rebuke with Stryker on your horses, on your Bane Riders, which means they couldn't charge him. I think they had enough movement to walk up, one of them to walk up and engage him. So they couldn't do anything. And the Sword Knights just ran up again. Didn't have quite enough movement to get over that shallow water in the middle of the board to get to anyone. And I think that's all. Anything that was interesting on that turn. So move on to your next turn. And so the Riders moved up. But I don't think they were able to hit Stryker because his defense was 18 because he's in base contact with Rowdy.
Yeah, I have to.
And you've also surrounded the Stormclad with Banes and Witches as well.
If I'm remembering right, we look at the center, the Bane Thralls kept your Stormclad with 2 points left. They failed to kill him. And then,
yes.
I think it were 3 Bane Thralls, a Blood Witch, whatever, and it was
and
Tartarus behind the flag. And they all didn't manage to kill this guy.
Yeah. So the dice weren't that kind to you in this game.
Yeah.
I think the game would have. I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler, but I think the game would have been over even quicker if you hadn't rolled so badly. In your second and third turn, it was just crazy.
But if we look at the left side on the picture, there few more Stormblades gone.
Yes. Yeah, so it was pretty much all of the Stormblades. They just, because the Blood Witches became corporeal again and they were able to attack the Stormblades. And Stormblades are like paper, they just die to anything. They hit very hard, but they just die. So they're not really a good frontline unit.
Which leaves my Cyrtexis Witches open on the field, ready to be charged.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hope that a few of them would survive your charge. And on the right side, the Bane Thralls marching.
Yeah.
I think they managed to kill one small group of your Sword Knights.
Yeah, there's 3 of them missing already.
I thought,
which means there's 3 extra Banes already.
Yeah, which you can see. One of the Banes turned into a witch, which is actually a Bane Thrall.
Yeah.
And
proxy model.
Yeah. What I did not know is that the shallow waters can be easily crossed by your Sword Knights. They are buffed by...
because of Piper.
Yeah, Piper.
He gives them Pathfinder.
Yeah.
That was really handy.
Which is pretty dangerous for me. We can see it on the next slide, if you like.
Yep. So on my next turn, I was able to get a relatively good charge with the Sword Knights, and because the Stormclad was still alive and has still had a lot of models in his melee range, the Sword Knights were able to get some good hits and free him up a little bit. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to hit Tartarus. Otherwise, he would have died probably. I think the Stormblade, Stormclad. Did I use a headbutt attack or something, or did I just boost the crippled? His arms were crippled at this point, so I just boosted the crippled arms, I think, to give me a normal attack.
Yeah, I think so.
And on the left, Stryker has taken care of all of the Bane Riders. But it seemed like a bit of a pointless exercise because on your turn they're just going to come back. Yeah. And the remaining Stormblade ran up and tried to hit the chicken. What's it called?
What was it called?
The Arc Node.
The Defiler.
The Defiler, yeah, the Chicken Jack. And he's so hard to hit. He's got defense 15. So he's weak, but he's very hard to hit. And what else? I think that's it, really. Yeah, so a few Banes died. The Stormclad somehow survived and killed maybe one guy. What else?
I think
that's it, really.
I think it's pretty impressive if you look at this picture and see my army reduced to almost nothing.
Well, I think there's about half the models gone, something like that.
Yeah, if it would have been going on this way, I would have lost at this point.
Yeah, so obviously, so you went on to... So going on to the next... this was also my feat turn before we move on to the other side. So that's the reason. Another reason why I had so much success was because pretty much every model got a second attack and were able to move up extra far as well. So that was pretty handy. And then on the next slide, it's your feat turn, and suddenly there's half of my models gone and double of your models back on the table.
Yeah, it's pretty much Banes on the table.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
So that was great. So on the right-hand side, there's Banes actually inside of my lines, like down towards my flag.
In the middle of your lines.
Stormclad has got, there's just a wreck marker where the Stormclad used to be. And I think all of the witch models now represent Banes at this point.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
So if anything with an orange base is actually a Bane Thrall as well. And all of the horses are back. All of the Bane Riders are back. And I had a bit of a bad situation, really. I think at this point I realised that I couldn't... I didn't play whatever... I don't know what the correct strategy would have been, but I didn't play it. So... kind of fighting a losing battle at this point. So that was a good turn. It was a well-timed feat. It was done at the right time, I think. And I think Goreshade 2's feat is always going to be on turn 3, I think.
Yeah, perhaps.
Because not enough of the models have died in turn 2 to make it worth it.
If you have a shooting army, turn 2 might have been useful too.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's right.
The Bane,
and we were both ignoring the scenario for this game as well.
Yeah, On the left side, you can see the Bane riders keeping Stryker busy. Actually, it was their job in this game. They did not do much damage. They just
Well, they find it hard to hit him.
almost impossible. They did not hit.
In this game, I've realised that Stryker 2, with all of his focus, with Arcane Shield and in base contact with Rowdy, is just very, very difficult for normal guys. Even with Mat 8 or 9, it's really difficult to kill him. I don't think he lost any hit points in this game, did he?
No, he didn't.
So it's actually possible for him to be kind of like a super solo and almost be impossible to hit.
Yes.
I think Tartarus would have been able to kill him probably, and maybe like if you surrounded him with Bane Thralls.
In combination with Goreshade, maybe in his blade was to keep him frozen after a hit, maybe.
Yeah.
And then Tartarus or some other Banes. Yeah. You were thinking
It
about.
worked very well.
Yeah. You were thinking about putting Stryker in the middle of the field, maybe in another game, to keep all the rest of the army busy, trying to kill him and survive.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a pretty nice attrition piece because he can kill. The thing is, if you spend your focus to make attacks and kill things, then your armor is a lot lower. So he can usually make 1 or 2 attacks, like good quality attacks per turn. But if you want him to survive, then you have to stack the focus on him. So yeah. So at this point, I was deciding whether or not to go for an assassination because Goreshade is within my 17-inch range, but I think I would have had to just accept free strikes from all of the models between, and also there's no direct line of sight. So what I should have done is I should have trampled with Rowdy across towards Goreshade and tried to make a little path and take out some models, and then I might have had a chance of getting Stryker through to attack Goreshade, but it would have been a long shot. You know, it's only doing it out of desperation at this point. And then I decided to play it safe, which it turned out was a mistake. As it usually is in Warmachine, you have to play aggressively. So I just, if we go to the next slide, you can see that I just stacked up focus. He's got all of the buffs that I could get on him. Rowdy knocked down everyone who was nearby to try and prevent them from hurting him. And unfortunately, all this did was delay the inevitable death of Stryker. So there's just so many of your guys on the board. You're still, every time you kill someone, you're generating another Bane. So even though he's fully supported and very hard to kill, it doesn't matter because you can just score on scenario after like 10 turns of me just standing there. So at this point the game's pretty much over, but I made you do your next turn anyway.
Yeah. I managed to wipe out the buff crew of Stryker, but I still did not manage to kill him.
And Rowdy's down.
Yeah, the whole field is full of Bane Thralls.
Yeah.
The Mechanic Thralls turned to Bane Thralls too, because they had no models left.
Yep.
And on the right side, I see the last Sword Knight standing there.
Yeah, looking proud but defeated.
Yes. Yeah, it's
So,
pretty impressive, this Elite Cater and the Goreshade turning into Bane Thralls attack. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tartarus is there, he's making Bane Thralls. The Elite Cadre is making Bane Thralls, and then any of them that die, you can just bring them back on the feet turn. So I think you need an anti-infantry list. If you want any hope of winning against that list by attrition, then you have to kill unit by unit. So you have to kill an entire unit, concentrate on that unit, and then concentrate on the next unit.
A lot of spray attacks might be useful.
Yeah, or AoEs, a lot of deviating AoEs, for example.
Yep, that's right.
If we ever play this matchup again, I want to play Haley 2 with the Stormwall, because it's Template City.
Template City, I'm afraid.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it would actually work, but my current Haley 2 list has got a lot of high quality shooting, so that would be the opposite of this list.
Oh yeah.
So we have to play that again sometime.
Yeah, I'll figure.
And I think, sorry, go on.
I'll figure out something evil against Haley. Maybe I'll find something.
Yeah. Well, good luck. She's not very popular because she's so ridiculous.
I heard so.
So the next slide is just a close up on Stryker, just to remind us what happened. He's looking, there's not much he can do at this point.
Yeah.
So this is the turn before his death, and then the next slide after that is a lovely cinematic still of
my unpainted Goreshade.
Yeah, he did very well in his first outing. It was very, very well played.
Yeah, let's see how it's doing. It's painted.
I'm looking forward to it because all your models look so great.
Yeah, yours too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Thank you.